Hello everybody, it's me Paddy from across the shop, and as you can see by this array of sharpening and the title, this video is about my my foray into knife sharpening, how I started to learn how to knife sharpen, what things I've used, what I've learned, what I can hopefully pass on to other people. And maybe you'll get something out of it and you'll want. I'm going to start this by saying that now knife sharpening is a hobby that I enjoy aside from my knives. And that's probably the best way to put it. I enjoy sharpening and finding different ways of sharpening as much as I do enjoy my knives. And I enjoy the feel of an incredibly sharp knife. Now, am I the best knife sharpener in the world? Absolutely not. You have my hero out there is Jeff Jewell. That's the man I look to. That's the man I recommend if anybody wants to learn. But there's plenty more. There's I Heart Knives. There's Supersteel Steve. There's Christy. There's people that other people disagree with and agree with. And it's like knife collecting. It's just a melee of a load of different people who like different things. But this is my journey into knife sharpening, where it started and why it started. First of all, I started getting knives. I started collecting more and more knives. Now, in my journey, it was Ganzos. It was cheaper run-of-the-mill knives that don't hold an edge for long. So very quickly, if you're on that budget end of knife collecting, you need to learn how to sharpen. If you want to keep your knives sharp and if you want to use them, if you want to just be proud of what you've got. You do not have to have, now this is the one thing, you do not have to have a mirror-edged knife to be a sharp knife. You don't have to have that. So if you're just starting, please don't give yourself that huge expectation of I need to have this mirror finish or my knife's not going to be sharp. That's rubbish. Some of the cloudiest knives I've had have been the sharpest, and that's the truth. But let's get away from that. Let's get back to my journey. This is what I used before I came into the knife community. This is what I used to sharpen my knives, because it was kitchen knives I was sharpening mostly, and the odd little pen knife I could get sharp on this. It's, and you have diamond ones, I have ceramic ones that I'd used before I get into the knife sharpening. So, I mean, this was a great tool. It sharpens a knife, it gets an edge. All it does is, it'll maybe not sharpen a knife, but it'll bring an edge back. It'll take rolls out and things like that on a knife and a knife edge, and it'll get you cutting again. This, then, would have been my next favourite. This is a little... it's not Lansky, what is it? Oh, Fockniven. This is a Fockniven. Now, this one is donkey's years old. The white ceramic has gone. It came off and I lost it. I put a little strop on this with some compound, and this is to say the diamond side of it. I used this for bushcraft. This sharpened my knife. This took the burr off the edge, and it gave me a great edge in my little bushcraft knives, my Moras and things like that. And it was perfect. And I also used to carry... I don't carry so much now. I carry one of these in my wallet. Look at this. This is wafer thin. This is a 400 diamond and a 1000 diamond on the other side. I kept this in my wallet so that if I ever did need to sharpen a knife when I was out and about and I didn't have a sharpener, this would have given me a good edge. So, I'm all over the place I have them. I used to do bug-out bags the whole lot. That's another story. So that's where I started. These two simple things is where I started. Stropping I didn't have. I used to have a wee bit of leather on the back of the sharpener. That was it. I never really spent a lot of time stropping, which I learned is one of the most important things in knife sharpening. But you only learn as you go along. When I first started and I first started seeing YouTube videos, there wasn't that many people showing you how to sharpen knives with stones. You had the little Lansky, the turn box there, which is great. That's one of the best. It's great for recurves. I still use it to this day on recurves. It gives you, because they're round edge, a recurve doesn't matter. You still do that same thing. It's just hold the knife in and straight down, and you do the other side. And that is a marvellous tool for recurves. Then I invested in the Spyderco sharpening system. which gives you the diamond, and ceramic. Again, it's supposed to just hold the knife straight and pull it through. That's it. And they're really, really good at keeping an edge on your knife. They're not what I would call for sharpening. They're not good enough for sharpening. It would take you so long if you had an M390 to keep it sharp in that. It'll keep an edge on it, but you'll not sharpen or resharpen with those things. They are just basically for keeping an edge. If you're not going to hard use your knife, if you just want to keep a working edge on your knife, they are absolutely great. They really are great. Now, for me, when things changed for me is when I started using stones. And that's when I started to realise, whoa, you can get some cracking edge with a stone. And then that's when I started looking for knife sharpeners who use stones. Now, this was one of the first I got. I think it's a Corundum stone. It's dirt cheap. It's got a rough side. It's got a smooth side. Coarse and fine. This cost me about £5, $7. This was when I first got an absolutely hair-splitting edge on my knives when I started using this. And it was Jeff Jewell. I watched him use tools and I asked for advice and he said, try that. So I tried that. And that's where it all took off for me, was when I started using this stone and got an edge that was amazing. Then I decided that stone's good. Why don't I try the diamond stones? Because they tell me that's quicker. And I bought things like this. It's a Lansky. It's just a cheap 1,000 grit. They call it a hard Arkansas stone. It's a diamond stone. I don't know whether they put it in the wrong box or whatever. But this is just a cheap diamond stone, and it's wearing out. It didn't last forever. Not because it was a defective stone, but because I was sharpening it, I was putting pressure on it, and I wore the stone out. It's now fine. If I just want to touch up, I can run a knife across it. I then went on to DMT stones, which are the more expensive diamond stones. They weigh, there's a great weight on them. These are absolutely cracking, and you can get them in all different grit sizes. Again, a useful and an amazing way of getting sharp knives. But this stone here was the eye-opener for me, if you like. Now, where have I gone from then? I found it very hard at the beginning to reprofile a knife on stones. So, to get a reprofile knife, I went to the Lansky. This is their fixed system. You clamp your knife in here, you put this across, and you sharpen your knife. And there's all different grades, takes you down to a really fine, and you can get a cracking edge on a Lansky. Definitely, without a doubt, a great tool. And it's great because it gets you a nice even bevel all the way around your knife, which is hard to do when you're freehanding on stones. I still find that incredibly difficult. I'm better at it now and I'll give it a go. But like I was doing an M390 one the other day, and I must actually go back and show the pictures. Once it came off, and look, it was as sharp a knife as I've ever had. But the edge bevel was still not great. And I must just show that to show, it doesn't bother me. The knife is no less sharper for it. But where I hadn't got right to the back of it, you can see it. If anybody looks at it, they can see it. So, I mean, knife sharpening is all about, it's like anything that you do and you start afresh. It just takes time to learn. I tried Arkansas stones. I didn't particularly get on with the Arkansas. It was a lovely gift from a viewer. I didn't particularly like Arkansas, so I never had to venture down that line. But it was lovely to give it a try. And I would still sometimes just get it out and just practice. Because the sharpening is all about practicing. I find if I go 3 or 4 weeks and I don't sharpen by hand, I struggle to get that burr. Changing that over, it takes me a while to get back into that. Your known movements with your hands. You have to just remember that they're remembered and learned movements, but if you stop doing them, you lose that ability very quickly to keep that edge or to keep that sharpening skill that you had. So you have to keep on doing it. Now, this is me talking about me. Then I went on to these stones. I won these in one of Jess Jewell's competitions. I don't enter a whole lot of competitions, but, I would only enter competitions for things that I actually genuinely want. But I won this set here, and there was another stone, a latte, a 400 latte. This is 1,000 and a 600. These are amazing stones. These ones are wet and go. The lattes are soak. These are wet and go. They are amazing. I got edges again that were beyond what I'd got here. They were beyond what I'd got on the diamond. They were just amazing edges. And you come off it with a smile in your face. I do. If I sharpen a knife and I put it through my little bit of telephone paper or magazine paper and you hear nothing and your knife slides through, it is the joy that I just, I want to share with everybody who's a knife collector, because I believe if you collect knives, you really, really should be able to sharpen the things. Do you know what I mean? I mean, if you collect cars, you would want to know how to start it if the battery failed or something. You would want to know something about it. So sharpening is something you should get into. Now, I'm saying that, and there's an awful lot of people can't be bothered with the learning, and that's fine, or they don't have the time to learn, and that's absolutely fine. I'm not knocking them people. I'm just talking somebody who wants to learn how to sharpen. You've got to put the time in. The fixed angle systems like this Lanxey is probably the cheapest good version of a fixed angle, but they go up, and there's plenty of dearer ones that you can go down to minus 6 million microns and it'll come out. I mean, they are just amazing. One, they're expensive, and two, my Lansky does for me what I need. But if I found that the Lansky wasn't enough, I would now upgrade and go for one of them other sharpening systems. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. They're just more expensive now. They'll do a better job, but at the end of the day, I just need a really sharp knife because that's what I like. Now, I've gone on to Veneve diamond stones now. These are my favourite wash and go stones. I've gone on to Veneve diamond. Veneve diamond's a Russian company, and they do, unlike this is just diamond on a metal plate, this has the diamond impregnated. I'm not sure what impregnated into the stone, and you get a double-sided stone for the same price as you would for one of these at the same size. So it's great value for me. Secondly, the results I'm getting, this is wash and go. Whereas you got other stones you have to soak and the likes of this, and you have to wait for them to soak, and then you've got to constantly water them. This, you put a little drop of water on the top and you go ahead and sharpen. And I have been getting the best results I've ever had on these Veneve stones. These are diamond impregnated stones. They are stunning. Now, you can go back and watch the video, and there's a link in that other video. I'm not going to do links for this because this is just everyday talk about sharpening and where I've got and where I've come from. This to this is just, it's 3 years worth of learning. I mean, do I need to spend, like these are about $100 a go now, about $80 or $90 a stone. This is about $20. It's, they have a rough and a smooth. You can get them in all different sizes. But this is a cheap Amtech one, but I got it for the very coarse, which is great when I want to reprofile by hand, what I used to do on these sort of diamonds. It's a very rough one, but you can get one that's, medium and fine, and they just bring your knife hair-whittlingly sharp. And there's Supersteel Steve is just a component of that. That's what he uses to sharpen his knives, which is brilliant. I mean, that man is a genius at sharpening knives. So it's not the quality of the stuff you've got, and that's what I'm trying to get across. It's not the quality or the quantity of what you've got. It's putting the time in to learn how to do it. I now have found two systems. One is this one, which is the Veneve stones, and the other is the soak stones or the splash and go stones. I love sharpening on these. There's different feedback, and by feedback I mean the way the knife feels. As you're scraping across the top, there's a feeling, and you get a feeling. There's a different feeling between this and this. Now, if I've got more time, I'll probably use the Latte 400 soak it, and I'll do that because to me there's a joy in doing it that way. If most of the times I just want to get a good edge on it, these Veneve stones are just out of this world. And I had these given to me. So, but I also had that given to me, and I couldn't promote it highly. I bought the Lansky myself. I bought the Spyderco myself. So they're all ones. All these I bought myself, and I recommend them because they'll get a knife sharp. Any one of these that you see here will get a knife sharp. That is the other important thing. Removing a burr, which I didn't find out about properly for about a year. That is amazing, the strop. And there's so many different varieties. I Heart Knives. If you want to learn about strops, go to I Heart Knives channel. He is a great man. He makes them. I believe he does sell some. But he's just, he goes into the details on what leather you should use and for what compound you use. He's just a font of information. So I highly recommend him. So the likes of Jeff Jewell and I Heart Knives, Supersteel, I'll put their channels down below. Go to them and learn how to sharpen. Let them teach you their way of sharpening. You probably have your own way. We all seem to have our own way of doing it. But if you really want proper sharpened knives, you need to learn a technique that suits you. If you're like me, I can now use all of these, which to me is just exciting. Because I can think, well, what will I do today? Do I just want a wee sharp edge? I'll just get that out and use that. I mean, that's a cheap £5 stone and it'll get my knife razor sharp. And if you want videos on either one of the things that you see here, if you want an updated video, maybe there has been before, but let me know down in the comments and I'll do a sharpening on any of them. And you'll get a knife sharp, but you'll get different levels of sharpness. And it's where you want to go. This, at this very moment, this or this, I can get as sharp a knife as I ever wanted, especially on these, especially in a shortened time frame, where if you don't have time, these Veneve stones, I'm over the moon with them so far. Now, in a year's time, it might be different, and I can only go on what I've done so far. I just love them. They're the best yet. Now, is that it? You know, the other thing is, once you get into stropping, you then get into diamond or pastes and different things. And that's another whole part of sharpening, which goes beyond once you get your sharp edge, then you're going to strop it. And then you're going to strop it down to 0.00001 micron if you want to. And there's people that do. And I love the fact that they're going to spend, and they can spend hours doing one knife. Most of the time, I don't get that luxury of sitting doing hours, but I still enjoy, and I enjoy watching people's videos. If you're sharpening and you're using any method out there, I call you to arms. Come out and make videos about your sharpening. They're not boring to people who want to see them. You mightn't get 1,000 watches, but the 250 watches you get are people who are genuinely interested and they want to spend that time with you and learn what you're doing. I do. So if you sharpen, whatever way you sharpen, this is a call to arms. Get out there, make some sharpening videos, because I love watching them. I love watching them. And what I watched, if I hadn't met Jeff Jewell on YouTube, my sharpening would have still been sort of on these cheaper diamond stones, and I wouldn't have learned how to sharpen on proper stones, because I seen him do it. I wanted a copy, and that is YouTube. See, copy, learn. Now, that is some waffle. I'm away now. I hope this was of interest to some of you out there, but it's just my progression and where I've sort of come to. Now, these are not all the stones I have. I have lots of other cheapy ones that I bought and they were rubbish, and especially even, this sort of £5, £10 stones, they were absolute rubbish. But I didn't put them all down. These are ones that I've had success with, and these are ones that I can sharpen any knife with. To what standard depends on the standard of the equipment. Most of the time. But it doesn't have to be expensive to get a razor sharp knife. Now, I'm gone. Thank you very much for listening to my owl waffle. Take care, all the best. Cup of tea time.